back to my channel. My name is Monette, and this is my channel, Evolve with Monette. So good to share some energy with you today. We have some things to talk about, namely getting right into my magical manifestation. For those of you that are new here, I'm a professional intuitive empath, and I don't always start out talking about psychedelic experiences, but I felt like this was really appropriate. My angels had been working with me recently on this, and it was something that I had in my mind, and I thought, okay. And I actually made a video. You can almost timestamp it. I made a video, oh gosh, maybe this was, I don't know, it had to be a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago. And I was talking about doing all of this stuff. Now, full disclaimer, I grew up in the Keys. I have done all of the things when I was a kid, for sure. Certainly not at this stage or age in my life. But I remember mushrooms for sure, and they were not so magical, not so delicious, not so enticing, not so wonderful in any capacity, but they certainly had a wonderful experience. For anybody that has ever done acid, then you can understand and liken the experience to that. It's very similar to acid. In fact, it is the organic, non synthetic form of acid. So if you've ever put the tabs on your tongue and done acid, then you are familiar with what mushrooms is like. Well, my angels are really cheeky. And so ayahuasca, you guys, for those of you that don't know, is a super bucket list thing for me. It's something that I will do someday, but I have not yet. In fact, I actually am scheduled to do that this year. I'm very, very excited. It's going to be controlled and magical and all of the things. But for now, I was thinking about this. I talked about it. I knew it was an experience that I was intended to have, but what I didn't understand was how it was going to come to me. A lot of times when we're manifesting, we get very attached to the outcome, and we're like, oh my gosh, I really want this thing. I want it so bad, and if I don't get it, like the world is ending. Well, I just kind of put the intention out there that this was a thing that I wanted. It was a thing that was going to happen, and if it was in alignment for me. Now, for the work that I do, it is so important for me to stay really fully open to all of the possibilities and to all of the ways that we create and manifest and bring things in for us. And so it was just something I put out into the universe. And so if you take nothing away from this, you don't want mushrooms, you don't have to have mushrooms. But if you take nothing away from this, take this. It is as simple as saying to the universe, I want a thing. If it is in alignment with you, if it is of your vibration, you are going to pull it in. And so it just so happened that I had a client who I'd worked with for about a year that I had no idea. I knew they did various things. I don't really get involved in my client's business unless it is part of the reading. But it turns out that one of the things my client does is she happens to distribute these beautiful mushrooms. And so I wanted to talk to you about that. Now, what's so funny about this, and I just love all of the synchronicities that lined up, and I'm not advertising for her. Oh, well, I guess I am in a way, but she didn't ask me to. But her nickname is Neptune. I know her real name, of course, but that is her business. Her nickname is Neptune. Neptune is a planet that rules illusions. I thought it's so brilliant. I don't know, we talked about it. I'm like, did you really research this? This is beautiful. And so it's a slippery place. And so you have to be very careful, because if Neptunes are conjunct certain planets when you're falling in love, you can maybe not see a person clearly, or when Neptune leaves, or when we have any kind of retrogrades in this planet, you may not see personalities clearly in love, or in relationships, or with your job, or a new endeavor, because Neptune is the slippery places that we can all get to. And so it's really interesting. And so anyway, we were talking, and she was like, yeah, I just so happened to do this and whatever. And so I'm thinking, if for anybody here who's ever done mushrooms, the primitive bag of mushrooms that you receive, and Mike Tyson, Joe Rogan, these guys are huge proponents of psychedelics and various cannabis and all the stuff now that it's all legalized and whatnot, probably before it was anyway. And so what is so interesting is that that is not at all what I got. Now, I have this little mushroom statue, which I used to manifest with, and it is yellow, solar plexus, and all of that stuff, and I just love it. I got it so many years ago, probably at like an old time pottery sorry, you guys, I don't know if those still exist, but that's where I picked this up at an old time party. When I saw it, I had to have it. So I've been calling that mushroom in for a long time. But what I love as a Leo sun is things that are done the right way. I love great energy. I love great packaging. I love all of that stuff. I have been working with suppliers regarding some things that I sell personally, not drugs, guys. This is for spiritual work, salt and stuff like that. And I've been going over and over with packaging. And it's so funny. One of my clients wanted some of the salts that I make. And I've been so frustrated because I didn't want to send it to her until everything was perfect. And I've been fighting with overseas regarding packaging. So shout out to you, Miss Laura, if you watch this. That's what took so long. Really, really, I was so embarrassed because it's like I can't do anything about my supplier. Anyway, we made it work, girl, and you have your salts. But what I will tell you is one of the things that I respect is the packaging here. So Neptune 56, and that number adds up to 11, which is about manifestation and whatever else. I will definitely be happy to interview her and ask her what her inspiration was, why she chose the name. I'm sure she was guided by her angels and like in order to arrive to this place because she made a really beautiful product. But I love on the back of it, it says, in efforts to aid mental health. And she wrote my note with a little heart, my name, excuse me, with a little heart. And then when you open the box, and I love the two-tone packaging, green, which is really calm from the earth grounding. Now she also sells honey. So I love this with her packaging. At the top it says honey or capsules, and she sent me 20 capsules, and it was filled with this black paper. And as you pop the box open so you get the full experience I got, it says rethink, reconnect, and repair. When you're doing psychedelics, that's exactly what you're doing usually, especially with ayahuasca, healing childhood stuff that you probably would not have dug to the bottom of, and these drugs open your brain and they help to facilitate it. The reason I titled this as a shamanic experience is because that is the work that I do. I'm helping people dig to the bottom of their stuff, no matter what it is, all day. So a modern day shaman of sorts. In fact, I'm looking here on my bookshelf, and I'm sure I have Be Your Own Shaman as one of the books. Right now I'm holding Candle Magic, but I have Be Your Own Shaman as one of the books here because it's something that I've definitely researched and studied. But here's the thing, any practitioner that gets into this work understands getting into this work is not something that you can be taught per se in school. It is something that your spirit team works with you on. It's something that your angels work with you on. It is something that you are guided to do. So it's not something that you can just say, I'm going to read 10 books and then this is going to be something that gets absolutely perfect for me in my brain. And in fact, our great teachers are this earth medicine. So ayahuasca, peyote, various things that are not legal, right? Some of this stuff is not legal at this point. But what I'm going to tell you is that it's really important for you to seek out what is, because the way that it expands your mind is incredible. So you open the box and then it says rethink, repair, and reconnect. And then underneath all the tissue, she included a really cool magic mushroom, what do you call it, a sticker, which I took out. And then it says her company, Neptune 56. And then the honey, she talks about what to do with the honey. So if you were to get the honey, you would stir well, consume in the early morning on an empty stomach, set a positive intention for the day. I love that. And then she talks about the dosage. So a teaspoon is a micro, a tablespoon is a mild journey, and 1 day on 3/4 day off. So she tells you how to take it. A teaspoon or a tablespoon, and it'll last for 1 day, and you need a 3/4 of a day off in order to kind of manage it. The thing that is wonderful about mushrooms for people that are like, I have a job, I can't do that. This lasts in your system about 2 to 3 days. This is not my life. This is not my life. So this is not something that I have to kind of worry about with that. But for those of you that do, it is imperative to keep that in mind. It will be in your system. It will show on a drug screen, depending on what they're testing you for. Some of the tests are not as extensive, but it's out of your system in a few days with some good water and some hydration. So the capsules And she says, find a regimen which works best for you. Vegan capsules can be open. A half a cap is one on 3 to 4 days off. So this is the time if you're microdosing, because some people use this as a baseline regulator for themselves. So she talks about microdosing, one cap on 1 to 2 to 3 days off, and 2 to 4 caps for a mild journey. So that is it. So when you open that box, at the bottom, one more branding with the Neptune. I love good branding. I love good marketing. And again, that's why I've been so upset with the suppliers, because they were selling like hotcakes and then they stopped making the boxes that I loved, that made everything so streamlined and kept my salt and my cleansing and clearing packages really secure. So inside comes in this beautiful pack these capsules, and these are the mushrooms. So what she's done is ground down these various mushrooms. On the back she talks about what you're getting, which is a hybrid, and it says capsules consume on an empty stomach in the early morning, do not disrupt your natural sleep cycle, or to not disrupt your natural sleep cycle. And it says medicinal mushrooms include lion's mane, reishi, chaga, and cordyceps, all natural, locally sourced medicinal ingredients. Now, of course, this client is out of California and has roots in Hawaii as well. And so, as you can see, there are not 20 capsules in here because I certainly have sampled them, and I even shared because I'm a sharer that way. So let's talk about the experience. So what I did, because I'm a hyper nerd whenever it comes to any ingestion of any kind of other substances that are not my caffeine, and even that, I try to get the most premium experience that I have. I have an espresso, the whole thing. I'm like super snobby about how I ingest my coffee and various things like that. However, with this, I love the experience, and it's so funny. I reached out to an old high school friend. Coincidentally, I'm coming back from dinner from an old high school friend tonight, which is really nice. But I reached out to an old high school friend, and he's actually my first boyfriend, which is so funny. And so I was like, hey, I need a playlist for mushrooms. And so he sent me some. He's fantastic. He's a Taurus. So Taurus, ruled by the sun says. So he's incredible with music, and that's one of the things that we just spent so many hours of our childhood talking about. He was in band with me and the whole thing. So he sent me a playlist, and he was like, what are you up to? And I'm like, oh, my client just sent me these amazing mushrooms to try out. And he was like, oh my gosh, that looks so streamlined and so professional. He was like, you're gonna have a great time. He was like, I'm used to like the crazy bag from the sketchy person. And I'm like, me too, and it's been a minute. So I was really delighted, because at this age of my life, girl, we're not trying to have sketch. So I was really happy to see how well done it was. So because I research, and when I'm ingesting anything, like I make my own butters and things like that, tinctures, oils, and stuff like that, I have the magic butter machine. I do things the right way when I'm ingesting, and I'm on a break from that at this current point in my life. But when I make it, it's like the best of the best, and I research it, and there's sunflower lecithin, and I'm timing it, and it's just done right. Well, what I loved about this is I looked up something, and there was a process called tekking, Tekking, which is where you take citric acid or lemon juice, a slice, and you put it in to the mushrooms, or you open the capsules in and you let them bloom essentially for about 15 minutes. Now, some people make mushroom tea. There are various ways that you can take it in. I like to give you guys all of the information in case you're going to try this, do this, get your hands on this. But what it does is it helps you to absorb it into your system faster, but it's not just so that you can be a junkie with the mushrooms. What it really does is it helps to offset any gastrointestinal issues, of which I have a plenty. So I thought, to be safe instead of sorry and sick, because with a lot of drugs, as it passes through the membrane of your stomach, even with pot butter or anything else, including some of the more designer drugs that are more intense, you will definitely feel that, and you may have you may want to go to the bathroom, you may not feel good, you could be nauseous. Well, I did experience some nausea, so I'll be fully transparent about that, but I did not have like horrible issues with my stomach. It was actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So I was really, really grateful for that. But what it did do is it did help it absorb into my system really quickly. Now, let's talk about my experience. What my angels have been doing was getting me ready for my experience. So after I consumed it, 3 or 4 days beforehand, they had pointed out a deck of cards to me, and they said, you need these. Now, I haven't bought cards in a long time. I've been traveling. I've been busy. You guys have seen me. So I really haven't had time to purchase decks or do anything like that. And in fact, I've taken a moratorium because I have over 100 decks. They're all perfectly organized, and I love the symmetry of the organizational system that I had finally come up with. And so I was like, that's enough for a good while, unless I'm really, really moved. Well, two things happened. There was a deck that I had, I'm going to make another video about that here shortly, that needed to be replaced. stay tuned for that. That's such a good message. And so I was like, oh, I'll do that. So I was looking for that deck, but I couldn't find it. I couldn't even think of the name of the deck. And I was like, I know I have the book on my desk, but I was not at my house. And I was trying to, grow. I was doing my due diligence on Amazon and Etsy. So then I ran across these. Can you guys see that? Let me get it into focus. It's the Metaphysical Cannabis Oracle deck. And it says, breathe into your consciousness, breathe out to the universe. Connection with self, body, and the universe is essential for mindful practices. The Metaphysical Cannabis Oracle deck will help you tap into your intuition, opening the third eye through herbal healing. A debut deck by Cannabis Sommelier. Sommelier, excuse me. My professor would kill me because we did have to go to sommelier classes. Maggie Wilson is the illustrator, and is the author, and the illustrator is E.G. Wee Inebi. Listen, when I tell you my angels are so amazing, they did another thing. And it was, as I was shopping for this on Amazon, again, looking for another deck completely, and I just happened, because there aren't too many decks that I haven't seen. There aren't too many decks that I haven't been gifted. If there's a deck that I want, guys, I procure it, I get it, my friends get it for me, it just happens. Like, I just have been so blessed that way. So I have quite the collection. So I was like, I don't need another deck. I need to replace the deck that I thought was getting a little bit tattered, and I didn't really enjoy the feel of it anymore, and it's one of my favorite decks, and it's important that it works the way I need it to work. Well, what happened was I come across this. It was no coincidence. I forgot I ordered it. Well, as I am getting, when you take mushrooms, the definition for the high experience would be called tripping, okay? So people that are really hard, like, I'm tripping balls. Well, as I was kind of loading or coming into activation, as me and my friends call it, for THC, especially for edibles, that would be activation, because there's a delay response as opposed to smoking the cannabis. So when I was as it was coming in, the Amazon package arrived, and I totally forgot, and my cards arrived, both decks. And so I'm like, this is amazing, and I'm opening this deck, and I'm just having the most incredible 5D, 6D, and 8D experience. What I mean by that is what hallucinogenics like acid and mushrooms do is they work they work the edges of your brain. It's the best way I can say it. The first time I did acid, which was like synthetic acid, when I was in the Keys as a teenager, I remember realizing or having the epiphany that this is how come animators were able to animate, because what animation looks like is how your real world becomes. Now, it may not be the same for everyone, but people experience trails and things melting and things morphing into the 5D, 3D. So what a cartoon looks like is what you start to see out of your eyes. Hyper realistic colors. You can hear music. You're instantly telepathic. I had this incredible experience with a guy in high school named Will, and we were friends, just good buddies, and he was a genius, truly tested, like mental level genius, and he was highly brilliant, and we spoke telepathically to each other for about an hour. We literally just talked to each other and then would confirm what we said by writing it down previously. It was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. So that's when I knew what you could push, and all the tests that were done in the 60s and 70s regarding acid, that's why they were so important to science and to study, because our brains are capable of so much when we push them. And this is also why, if you are in the metaphysical practices, shamans indulge in the smoking of the peyote, the taking of the ayahuasca, the smoking of the marijuana, and all the rest of it, because it elevates you. And my God, guys, I am cleaning people every day that Jesus sends. And what I mean by that is I am energetically taking people's energy. I am purging it. I'm helping them understand things. I'm helping them move through things. I'm helping them clean out issues. And in order for me to do that, I have to have some enlightenment too. And I need a break too. And I have been working. And my angels have been like, hey, are you going to chill a little bit? But I've been so like, no, I'm not even going to smoke. I'm not going to chill. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to take any butters. I am just like a powerhouse working, because that's what I felt like I was gifted to do. Well, let's see. When you do mushrooms and when you do an edible, let's say it's marijuana, you have to check out. You cannot stay focused. In fact, it was how I unplugged in the years previous, because if let's say a client books me, like it used to be, I'm really working on my boundaries. A client could call me at 1 o'clock and I would take them. in order to save my connection, my relationship, I definitely had to put some boundaries in. But my natural proclivity is to work. I've worked with people all throughout the night. I've worked with people that are in Jerusalem, that are in Paris, that are in Korea, everything. Okay, and so I will not shut down. So what having a day for myself to just do this does is shuts me down. Well, my cards arrive at this time. Well, and like I was saying, I deviated. As I was shopping, I was really attracted. My angel said, "You need a vase for something." And I was like, okay, I need a vase. So I start looking at vases, and they were like, "You need a unique vase." And I'm like, okay. Well, what I do is I end up stumbling across a vase that looks like a heart. And it was so visceral and so I'm going to put a screenshot on my community page. I know I always say that. I'm really going to, because you need to see it to understand how it freaked me out. It looks like your actual heart. And this wasn't like a cute heart face like that. This was a bloody, beating. It looked like it's something that should belong on a cardiologist's desk. It was not cute, and all of the ventricles were holes to put little flowers in. So it's like a bud vase essentially, not for a weed bud, but like flower buds. So you would cut the little stems and put them in there. And I was like, oh, that's intense. Maybe I'll get it in gold or something like that, or maybe I'll get it in a different color, because that's a lot. And my angels were like, no, you need it with red, for root chakra, for healing generational curses, for healing familial issues, for all of this. This is before the mushrooms, okay? So this is just a conversation with me and my angels. You need it for root chakra. You need it for this. It is grounding. It is like almost like a beet blood red. I cannot describe to you how intense it is. And well, of course, you'll see it. Well, as I'm opening the deck, and I'm just like, the mushrooms are entering my system, and I'm like, this deck is so trippy, and it's not like me. I love a good colorful visual deck, but this is part oracle, part tarot. It's not a typical tarot deck at all. It's more oracle, which I've been really gravitating to as of late, which is fine. I love my tarot too, y'all know. Anyway, so I open the deck, and I'm flipping through the cards, and I am going to do an unboxing with these cards in a different video and go through them with you. But this is the card that I come upon as I am literally beginning to trip balls, because the teching work, the lemon juice, the citric acid work, and the mushrooms are in my system officially. So as I am tripping, this is what I see. Do you guys see this? Excuse me. It is a literal heart with flower petals and scrolls around it. Now, I have a video up here where I've read scrolls before, but scrolls mean a lot to me because my love language is words of affirmation. So I'm a writer, I'm a speaker, I'm a talker, and that's how you get to my heart. Well, it was so amazing because I was like, wow. And so I said, I need to get the guidebook and I need to read and see what this is about, because clearly there's a message here and my angels are not playing any games with me and they want me to see what the message is. Well, there's been a theme in my life lately of 333. And have you guys seen the movie 3,000 Years of Longing? Well, I had an experience recently with a jinn, with my very own jinn. Jinn spelled D-J-I-N-N, which is a genie, okay? And in the movie, it's Idris Elba, and oh my God, she's brilliant. Oh my gosh, her name, Tilda Swinton, brilliant. The point is, they're both brilliant actors and actresses in their own right. But at the end of a epic journey that I went on, I came home and me and my bestie went to the movies, and we saw, because my bestie drove back with me from a cross country trip. She flew in, I flew her in, and then we drove back, right? So at the end, before she got back on her flight to go home, we killed time and we went to the movie and we saw 3,000 Years of Longing. Well, 333 is a number in that movie, which only confirmed my experience with the jinn that I had just encountered. I will tell you all about that. Yes, this is real. I know it sounds rather fantastical, but I did ask for a fantastical life, and apparently I'm having it. Did I have a genie that disappeared in smoke? Metaphorically, to a degree. Was there real smoke and wisp and vapes, and did they come out of a bottle? No. But they came out of a necessity. They came out of a need for recalibration and realignment. That's such a cool story. I can't wait to share it with you. But that 3 is a very strong number because I've been paying a lot of attention. Now 333 has to do with ascended masters, okay? So I was definitely paying attention. So I'm feeling great, and I've gotten past the moment because there was a little moment where you don't feel so well. I like to get under a weighted blanket whenever I take anything that has to pass through the membrane of my stomach, because my stomach and I have moments, okay? So I do a weighted blanket. I make sure I have tissues in case I'm nauseous. I'm all good. So I was all cozied in, and I was like, I don't know what this is going to be like because it's been a long time. So as I'm laying there, I'm flipping through. So my angels are like, go through the guidebook and see what this is. So the card says, if you can see it, unconditional love. It says unconditional love blueprint. So I was like, okay, what do you, and let's look at the back of the cards too. Gorgeous imagery. Unconditional love blueprint. And the number, I believe it was 106, was the page number that it was on. And 106 adds up to 8. And 8 is the number of Leo, August. Pardon me. Hydration like a mermaid. Okay. It says, and it's hard to read because it's on a dark page, and you can tell that they might have been enjoying some mushrooms when they created the guidebook. If this card has come up for you, it's time to find unconditional love. In this card, we see a heart. Let me hold it up for you guys. In this card, we see a heart with 33 petals. 333. My angels never miss. Tying, connecting right to the experience I just had with this genie that appeared in my life. That was so helpful. And to ascended masters. So Jesus, Buddha, these would be considered ascended masters and more, okay? People that may have incarnated on this earth but left it and ascended because they got the lessons, they did the things they needed to do, and they left teachings behind them, okay? Krishna, all of it. So the outer petals bend inward from green to pink to purple. Green is associated with the color Archangel Raphael, and it's associated with your heart chakra, which is healing. And for any of my A1 day ones, you guys know what I have gone through in the last several years now. And it's been actually, oh God, it's been 3 years since I had my heart absolutely shattered and broken by dealing with nasty, toxic, lower vibrational people that chose a different path. Are they the worst people in the world? No. But what happened was they were teachers too. They were soulmates too. And let's talk about how this all comes together as I was doing these mushrooms. So, and I've talked about this before. So, the pink is new blush of love. Purple is about royalty and balance, and white is purity. In the middle, elements of gold and pink glisten out onto every corner of the card. Small rolled up scrolls float around the heart to represent the soul contracts each person makes within their journey. The contracts exist between partners, friends, and most importantly, family. But these contracts are not bonds that last forever. In fact, they are the lessons that each of us, that teach us each to be in our most authentic selves as we have integrated the lessons of the truth. As we've integrated the lessons of the card of truth. The highest selves of everyone are truly patting each other on the back and showing each other unconditional love. To enhance this, they advise to work with ruby. And I'm looking down because ruby was a stone that I was really guided to. I have my crystal garden before me. I'm seeing if I can find it. I have carnelian tucked into my bra tonight, but ruby, I found raw ruby. Oh, I do have it here. Yes, I do. Ruby was a stone I was guided to work with, and I was in the Carolinas and traveling all throughout the summer, and I was in Memphis. I was everywhere. I've been everywhere. Yeah, to be continued. And I was really guided for ruby, and I wanted like a sparkling, pristine, like queenly ruby, but I didn't find that. And instead, what I did find were 2 stones, and one is, this is raw ruby. So I literally was chasing this down. So what I love about how our spirit team works with us is there's a conversation that's happening, and you think it's all like coincidental, and you think like, oh, this means nothing, and what am I doing this for? And it was for this moment. So they're like, you need ruby. So this is what it enhances it. So this is raw ruby. And I'm going to tell you, when I got it, I wasn't impressed because, you know, y'all, I'm a blingy girl, yeah? And so I was like, no, I want like a really amazing ring. And my angels were like, oh, the time will come and you will be gifted that. Or you'll purchase it for yourself. But you needed to get this for yourself. We want you to work with the raw ruby because your heart is in this state of being still shaped. I love the shape of it. The hexagon is what it is carved into. And the hexagon is 6, which represents balance, equal give and take. A lot of us get our hearts broken in relationships because there is a misalignment of exchanging of energy. The 6 of Pentacles in tarot is associated with an imbalance that needs to be addressed. It also has to do with business. So a lot of people see the number 666 coming from our Christian beliefs, and we think that's associated with the devil. It is associated with materialism, but that would be also balance, right? Money helps us balance ourselves. Our business need to be balanced. Our ledgers need to be balanced. Our checkbooks, if those existed anymore, need to be balanced. And our relationships need to be balanced. So the ruby, and especially just happen to be getting it cut into the hexagon here, it needs balance as well. So I had the ruby, so I went and fetched the ruby out of my crystal garden, and it says, new thought pattern to apply here. Unconditional love is my life force and it flows through me, creating a passion for life. Well, my angels really wanted me to get this message, and that's why they made sure that this card was the heart. And this is exactly, and I'm going to put it side by side on the community page, I promise, exactly the heart that the vase was, except the vase is a deeper, bloodier, visceral red. And I will purchase a vase when I'm instructed. Right now it's in my save for later. But it was like, they were like, you, I don't doubt my angels. I know that they work with me in mysterious ways, but coming into the place where the mushrooms were entering my system and then having that incredible experience of tying together, excuse me guys, of tying together my soulmated experiences, good, bad, or indifferent, and especially my experience with the djinn that I just met. It was so powerful. It was so amazing. Now, wait, it gets better. So they're like, we want to make sure that you can't miss that we guided you to this. So I was like, okay, I get it. The heart that's in my Amazon cart, y'all had me get these cards. They arrived, and I forgot I even ordered them, honestly. You know how that is with Amazon. We know we like to be surprised, like us women. Well, I know there's men too, but it's like Christmas for us, right? We're like, I ordered something. What did I order? I forgot that I even ordered it. So that was so funny to me because I was like, I didn't expect this lovely treat. Well, at the same time as I'm reading this, and my heart's just bursting with like, oh wow, you guys like threaded all of this together and it's magic. My bestie sends me a text, and my bestie is a boss lady. She is an Aquarius. She is an Aquarius sun and a Capricorn rising. So she is like no nonsense, right? And I love her because there isn't a lot of, I'm spraying a little bit of lotus spray. Who's opening up here? A little bit of lotus spray here. I just felt to smell something sweet. When I work, it's so funny. And when I'm getting ready, I'm coming back from dinner, like I said, but like sometimes I just get ready and come out here and sit and chat with you guys. And I always spray perfume. And my husband's like, you know they can't smell you. And I'm like, no, but I can. I can smell me. I love to have perfume. That's some Leo stuff there for sure. But anyway, my bestie at the time, and she doesn't know that I'm doing the mushrooms at that moment. And so at the time, my bestie sends me this text. And like I said, she's no nonsense. She's a sweetheart. She's great with words of affirmation. I always feel super loved by her, super taken care of. I always tell her she handles me very well because she has directives and things like that, but she is not bossy. Like, I've never felt disrespected or bossed about. But she sends me this text, and she's like, you are a magical unicorn. You are lovely and whatever, and you pay attention to your clients. And I don't know why my angels impressed it upon her to send me that message, but they did. And I believe they did because they knew that we were going to be having this moment together. And they wanted me to feel the love, unconditional love. Specifically, like the book says, we sign up with contracts. Well, what I had been healing in the last few years was a contract that I had signed up for with someone. And I gotta say, you know, and so far as contracts go, they played their part completely. Oh, by the way, they're showing me, this is one of my little lipstick pouches. This is a color red that vase is. So you guys will see that. But they had done their role. Even though I didn't like how it went, even though it hurt my feelings, even though it broke my soul open, what it did was it put me on my path to live my most authentic self. And the reason that I'm telling you about this is because, yes, I'll talk about the ways that I saw things moving and the rest of the psychedelic things that happened. But what I utilized these psychedelics for on that day was to clear some things. Even though I didn't know what it was going to be, I just thought it was going to be a fun day where I unplugged. Because edibles with pot is a totally different experience than with mushrooms. But the mushrooms took me where they needed me to go. So my bestie's sending me this lovely words of affirmation text, and I can't help but see the scrolls popping out at the top. This beautiful note from her in text form where she's like, I adore you. The world adores you. And this is how your clients feel about you, and you're a magical unicorn. She says these words, which just light up my inner child. Because one, I feel loved, and then two, I'm realizing the duality with the six right there on that ruby, right, the hexagon shape. I'm realizing the duality of bumping into the right soulmate. I had the toxic one that was a powerful teacher. She was probably one of the best teachers I ever had. It put me so in alignment with my life's path. It made me so resent and reject and hate any inauthenticity in other people and in myself first. It rooted it out. It took it out. It healed family issues. That soulmate that trampled on me and was a liar and did all of the things signed up to do that. And when I was on the mushrooms, I mean, I've had revelations about it. You guys have heard me share that before. I've had revelations about that. I've known that this is what people come to do. We've talked about it. But on the mushrooms, I was so at peace with it. I was like, yeah, she did a great job. Like, high five, hater. Appreciate you. You did a fantastic job. Because I am sitting here today in great part because of deep betrayal. But that is not what I wear anymore. And with all of the heart imagery, memorabilia, the vase, the card, and literally my heart healing, it just was so clear to me. Now, I said while we were in Barbados, if you guys saw that little live, I said, the Bestie upgrade is immaculate. And indeed it is. But what she did, she had no idea, but we are telepathically connected. We are, without acid. She's like straight laced, never done drugs in her life. I love her so much. Or psychedelics or any altering, mind enhancing things besides coffee. Now, that is a girl that will go cup to cup for me with coffee. She's not a drinker, but girl, we will have espressos across this world, and we have. But what I will say is that it was perfect timing for her to be sending me this beautiful message of, I just value you and I just appreciate you. And I was so grateful. And my angel said, you had the negative soulmate. You both signed up for that. And now you have the positive soulmate. And you both signed up for this. And I was able to return to her a volley of words to validate our relationship in the lifetimes we'd experienced it. Because when I was on mushrooms, it was so clear to me. And I just was like, I've always known you. And when we talked, when I was sober later, she was like, yeah, I've known you immediately too. Now, this is a conversation we've had repeatedly, but in the last few months, there's been such a deepening of the connection. And I think it's because my heart is really, 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 really healed. I am grateful. I stand in great gratitude. And the mushrooms that day helped to facilitate that. Now, what it also did was it put other people on my mind. I reached out to them. I did what I was guided to do, all the rest of it. And then let's get to the fun part, right? That is fun for me, right? I love that. I had shut down my clients for the day. I wasn't going to take anybody. And someone slipped in. Now, what's so funny is because I actually do this in real life, 3 hours beforehand, no coincidence, I knew that the lady was going to call. And I was like, I need to text her and tell her I'm not going to take clients today. She doesn't call every day. I just knew she was going to call. I knew it. And no other client. I had already worked in the morning because I was setting aside time for the rest of the day to be for me. Because it's very rare that I do that. And sure as you can't make it up, she booked me at 3 p.m. I couldn't believe it. So she booked me at 3 p.m. and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. You know, she wanted to do a full hour. And so I was fully honest with her because I can't. She's a Scorpio. And we did a reading. I said, listen, I've got a half an hour in me, but let's see what we do. So we had this reading. And halfway through, she was like, I just don't, it's so deep with you. I just don't go this deep. Now I'm laughing to myself because I'm like, Yeah, I'm tripping balls. That's why it's so deep. Now we got right into whatever was going on. She was being spiritually attacked. We dealt with it. I cleaned up the energy. We redirected. We dealt with some business stuff because she's a boss babe herself. She owns several businesses as well. So we're cleaning all that up. I'm in there, and it was just such a lovely space to work from. And in that moment, my angels were like, "Do you see why we guided you to this?" Because again, it was not my intention to work. I usually like to have that time for myself, to have my epiphanies, and then come share them with you. I don't share that with clients. I'm not that person. I'm not the person that will drink. Like people hire me to go on cruises and to do things of that nature. Mental note, I gotta reach out to someone about that, and work their birthdays and various events for them. And I don't imbibe because if I'm gonna be there reading, I'm working. I don't know. I just have my own work ethic about that. There are separate ways to deal with that. But this one time, I was like, "Oh, girl, you booked me," and I'm a type of person. If someone books me, I don't cancel the booking, and like hell or high water, unless I like physically am ill, I don't cancel it. So I was like, well, we're gonna have to do this, and so we did. And I just love the compliment of it's just so deep with you. I never go this deep. She said something that was so specific, and it was such beautiful words to my ears, and I thought that is what my bestie was saying. So it was another full circle moment. No coincidence that she booked at 3 p.m. No coincidence she was a Scorpio and she just let me go in and do the work. It was beautiful. Then I did, of course, see the minor things out of the corner of my eyes. Now, one of the things that people that do mushrooms will tell you is you want to do it with someone that you trust, and I was with someone that I trusted, and you want to be in a safe, comfortable, familiar place. Avoid looking at yourself in the mirror. I would highly recommend that if you're doing synthetic acid, because your skin and stuff, you will think that you look like you've done crystal meth for 10 years. Like sometimes, depending, like because acid does all kinds of like slippery things with your brain. But this was not so bad. I took, let's see, I took 5 of the capsules because I had taken 2 and hadn't felt much of an effect. So I took 5 with the teching, and I definitely had lovely, like curly hallucinogenic moments where I saw things and things were moving and I felt great, and it was wonderful. And it lasted a couple of hours, maybe 3 or 4, and then I was back to earth. But having had this really beautiful epiphany, the great bulk of the work was done regarding healing the heart chakra. So that's what I wanted to share with you. And maybe for someone here, whether you do mushrooms or not, the heart chakra needs to be healed. Maybe you're never going to touch a mushroom or a capsule. Maybe you're never going to stumble upon a client that happens to be named Neptune. Like, I feel like my life is really magical, so fortuitous. And I just couldn't believe my luck. And there it was. And so it was just a lovely experience. But what I loved about it was how they were like, we just let you have this encounter with this jinn. You are dealing with whatever that was. We let your bestie text you at exactly this time. We made sure that the cards arrived for you. These new cards that I would have never touched, had, or put my sights on arrived for me at this time. Everything lined up and it was so perfect. And what it does, I'm drawn to another card out of the deck. What it did was it, and this is so funny because this is what acid will make you feel like. You see how this is melting? It looks like a lava lamp, her eyes. That's exactly how acid will have you see things. Not to that extreme, and sometimes to that extreme. But with mushrooms, yeah, it was just, it was light. It was mild, it was manageable, and it was beautiful. Things are more vibrant, but you're in touch with your emotions. I feel like it's actually, and this card is higher perception, and the keyword at the bottom there is passion, higher perception and passion. So what I feel like with mushrooms and with any ayahuasca or psychedelics that you might get into, especially if you're a practitioner, let's say you are a Reiki healer, let's say you are a card reader, let's say you're a practitioner of any kind that works in the metaphysical, and which would be the feminine sciences. In order to maintain your passion for that, you have to decompress, you have to take time for you. You have to back up. You have to have your own trips and moments, because what would I have to teach you if I did not have those moments where I began to really ascend and delve deeper and dove into healing my own self? The same Monette that was here 3 years ago that was bitter and that was hurt because of the breakup with that ex, that XD, that whatever, that Monette can't stay. I have shed skin, and it's so funny, no coincidence. Remember I said be careful of your skin. In Barbados, I was at that Royal Barbados Sandals pool every day that Jesus sent, except for maybe the last one. We did a tour of the island on the last day, with a wonderful cab driver named Andrew, St. Andrew, who took us to his home and to his family's they had a turtle sanctuary and a little shop, and he bought us a shandy, and it was like amazing. We went to the highest point on the island, Cherry Hill, and he took us down to the beaches, and we bought plums off the side of the road with vendors and poured salt on them, and it was just And that was orchestrated by my jinn in the weirdest way. I can't wait to share that story with you. However, what I will tell you is I was at that pool, girl. And so when I tell you that I am like sunburnt, you can't see it and you can tell. Remember I said I was all cheeky in my video, the Harry and Meghan one, where I was like, I'm gonna be out getting darker every day and I love it. Well, I do, but my shoulders didn't love it. I had on a hat and I had on sunscreen on my face, but girl, these shoulders are peeling and shedding. And I also don't miss the symbology of it. I have literally healed that hurt. And the past year, too, which you guys know was medically the greatest challenge of my life. I have healed and recovered from any evil eye, from any death threats, from any energy sent my way. I survived. I survived to live another day. And it was funny because it was snakes that I went into battle with. And I had impaled them. And I kept saying I was going to put a screenshot of a snake that one of the readers that I love had held a picture of. I don't have that deck. And I love the imagery of it. And so it was a huge snake that I saw in my dream almost 4 or 5 years ago when I got the first downloads of the betrayal that was going to come to me. And it was a knife through the snake. And so it was like my ancestors' way of saying to me, my angels and my ancestors, that it is done. It is finished. You did your work, and those people are receiving whatever their karmic retribution is. But here's what we do as shamans. Let's bring it full circle in the mushroom trip. We take on the energy of whatever is happening whenever we go into a spiritual warfare or battle. And to be a shaman is to be, in that way, a snake shedding one's skin. It is very, when we talk about Kundalini rising, Kundalini is thought to be a snake that coils itself figuratively at the base of your spine. It's our power center, and it blasts through your chakras when you have an awakening. It's powerful, and it can be destructive. Just like Moldavite, the crystal, has that energy, the Kundalini rising experience is similar. Well, spiritual warfare and battle with foes or people that you once thought were friends or lovers or whatever, wherever the sidewalk ends for you, can cause you to change completely. And that's what this card says. The heart chakra and the unconditional love that the soulmate who betrayed me had for me was in fact unconditional love. Now, she would not have couched it that way, and while it was happening, I certainly would have, but she loved me enough to be her most evil, cravenous self, which helped me to ascend. But I was able to do that because as an empath, as an earth angel, and as someone operating in shamanistic energy, I can transmute toxicity into power. And it is no more evidence than the shedding of my actual skin. I haven't peeled in years. I grew up in the Keys, so I'm very familiar with the good old peeling. I'm very familiar with shoulders and skin that is so black it's almost blue. And I relished it and loved it. I'm a Leo, so I love the sun. It's so funny. Momo's Happy Place, if you watch this when you do, you had said to me in one of my videos, you look like Oshun. I may have been wearing, I was wearing all gold. That's when I was getting ready for the video. And for those of you guys who don't know, Oshun is a goddess that is usually seen in yellow and whatever else. We can go into that. But I've been working with Oshun lately, meaning that the energy of Oshun has been very prominently coming to me. But why I say that is because the shedding of the skin, and I don't know why I got sidetracked, but the shedding of the skin, you look like Oshun. I was really embodying that kind of goddess and changing energy. In any case, so when I saw my skin shedding, I was like, wow. So now I have literally transmuted the toxicity of the energy of those foes and of people that did not wish well or did not want to see me wherever I ended up being. And we are not done yet. But I am now shedding. I have actually passed through the eye of the needle regarding one of the hardest tests of my life. And it wasn't just that thing which broke my heart. My body was broken the subsequent year after. It was tower after tower. And my angel said to me, oh, and they just drew my eye to this. Oh, my angel said to me, my crystal garden, you absorbed the toxicity and you transmuted it. Beauty from ashes. I went through this. This is one of my favorite pieces, and it's gold. It's black obsidian. It's gold obsidian, and you can't see it, but at the top there are flecks. Can you see that the striations there of gold? This is specifically a piece that is utilized for taking your power back from office bullies, from people that have tried you. This is all about shifting of power dynamics, and I was tried. I was disrespected, and I was tried, and so this piece was such a prominent piece for me of healing, and so it sits in my crystal garden. I have a dragon, an incense dragon in my crystal garden, and the incense dragon, she protects this piece because it's one of my most prized pieces, made in India. What I will tell you is that I absorbed the obsidian is used, a black stone, for protecting oneself, warding off negative energy, absorbing toxicity. And so when I saw my skin shedding, I realized that I had taken on the poison. Sometimes, in order to best your enemy, you will have to drink of the poison cup. And if you are strong enough, and if you are grounded enough, and if you are utilizing your spirit team, angels, ancestors, guides, whatever you call them, what will happen is that you will come out sparkling. One of the readers on here, Maji, says, God hired me. Who's going to fire me? There will be times in your life when people will try to fire you. Well, they will try to best you. Where they will try to make you leave your post. Or they will try to convince you that you do not deserve to be loved, and that you can be turned into a duppy, a ghost. Duppy is a word for ghost. And then you turn them into one. That's the shamanistic experience. At first, it's not fun, but as I watch my skin peel, and it's still peeling, and I am shedding, I realize that a great work was done. Take time for yourself to ground. Take time for yourself to consume herbs that come from our ground. Take time in whatever way makes it good for you to get down in that capacity, because that's when you really allow your mind to be free. Such a full circle moment for me. The 333, the experience with my genie, the jinn that came into my life ever so quickly, filled with important information for change and realignment. The beautiful words from my bestie that lit my heart up and made it burst into petals. The vase they had me put into my Amazon cart. The cards they had me purchase to get ready, all for the moment. Because I hadn't planned to take these mushrooms. I didn't know, like I've had them in my possession for a couple of months. Wasn't a big deal. But that day, they said, it is now. You will have to take time for yourself as a practitioner to do that. I can't wait to share with you the ayahuasca journey. I will be traveling to do that. And that's all about healing. And so there won't be any recording of that. That is deeply personal. I will absolutely share what happens in it. But this is what we're really here to do. I couldn't be prouder of the work that we've done together, just me and you guys talking. And I couldn't be prouder of my angels. I mean, like, can you be proud of your angels? I guess I can. They do the coolest things with me, and they lead me to absolutely be free. And if you've ever had your heart broken, this side of it is so liberating. What a journey. I never thought I would be grateful for heartbreak. I never thought that I would be happier, healthier, more driven, wealthier after a heartbreak. But what I tell you guys about karmic relationships, and someone clearly needs a reminder, a karmic relationship will cause you to lose in every way. And you will be tested. And empaths, we love to be snacked by narcissists, meaning we may not love it, but they love us. So I get tested every day with people that are toxic or want to push my boundaries or whatever. I'm just not the same me. The skin is shedding. I have not achieved my final form. A snake can shed its skin many times. It is not fun, but it is necessary for evolution. And that's what we're here to do. So good sharing all of this energy with you. Get some mushrooms. I will ask Neptune if I can post her information in my community page, if you would like to purchase from her. But what a beautiful exchange of energy. And what a wonderful thing. The magic abounds if you want to bring it in. Remember the lessons that I taught today. Remember the things that I did say. And I want you to understand why I'm saying that. Because one of the most important things is we manifest too hard. There's a lizard. There's a baby lizard in the house. Someone look up the lizard totem. I looked up, and out of the corner of my eye, I see a baby lizard. Someone look up the lizard totem. That's another powerful message about regeneration, because lizards are able to lose their tails. And the keys my dad used to pay us pennies or nickels to catch lizards. And if you pull too hard, their tail will come off. And I have definitely had that happen, but they regenerate. So this is such a powerful lesson of regeneration. Unconditional love helps you to regenerate. Get things in your body that are regenerated in the earth. But listen, manifestation is not as complicated as we make it. We will hold on like, I want this so bad, I want this so bad, I want this so bad. It was a fleeting thought. I said it in a video, didn't think a thing about it, and then all of a sudden everything unfolded and I got exactly what I wanted, and it was effortless. And not only was it effortless, it was well done. See, we can't do things better than the one who designs the thing to be done for us. One of the things I've learned about myself is I don't pick good partners, but when angels and my ancestors pick them for me, they're excellent. When I pick out of my shadow self, that my shadow self is definitely attracted to things, people, and places and all that stuff. But I've noticed every time my shadow self picks, it's a hot mess. When I let, and that's from friendships to lovers to you name it, right? So when I say it's up to you, and as a practitioner and as a spiritualist, it's what I have to do. I don't even get a choice about it anymore. They're just like, we won't even let people next to you that are not good. And we're going to make it so clear. Your high priestess energy kicks in. You will see it absolutely. So what I want you to understand is the same thing is true. That is true for, it is true for you as it is true for me. That's what I want you to understand. Release the grip on that manifestation. Oh, I have to have it so bad. I need it. I need it. I need it. I need it. Release the grip on that. Let it be a fleeting thing. It will come to you. There is something that my bestie wants to see me manifest. She wants it. She wants it, and I want it too. But the truth of the matter is the timing is just not right for me yet, or it would be here, because that's how my angels do, and I trust it. Doesn't mean that she's wrong. I love her energy for wanting me to have the best life I could ever have. But I also know that anybody can't push something to be if it's not ready to be. Otherwise, it will turn out bad. It is a time for change and for manifesting whatever you want, but do not let the memories of a heartbreak or any injury stay in your spirit and haunt you. It is time to set yourself free. There are new pathways, neural pathways to create, new synapses that need to be fired, and new ways to be. I am so glad that you're here sharing this journey with me, and I would highly recommend that you get yourself a little ganja or some mushrooms and really set yourself free. It is 5:55 or 55. We're at 55 minutes on the clock. 5:5. Another number of change. The lizard is still there. Transformation. I'm going to call my husband here after I end this video for him to do his due diligence and retrieval. I love you guys so much. It is such a pleasure sharing and connecting with you. Thank you for letting me share with you this moment. I hope you got something out of it, whether it be the 3s or the 2s. Now officially we're at 5:55 on the clock. That is where I should stop. Come back and join me next time though, and we will continue to evolve.